Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is squat tips for aging men. This was like late Saturday afternoon. I just got done with the workout. My team, the Packers, play tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. But I just did a squat workout. I thought I'd kind of get my thoughts out there, kind of thoughts composed for myself, and it probably will help you as an aging man or a young man. Young man ought to squat too, but the first thing about squatting is you should do it. You should do the exercise. It's the basic movement for your whole life and the quality of it. So if you can't, as you get older, if you can't squat down into a chair, squat down into bed, and use your legs and hips to get out of bed, to get on and off the toilet, your life is going to be pretty darn miserable as you get older. So I think you'd want to try to incorporate squatting into your workouts and work out with weights. And I think the squatting will help you. I know when my dad, his last year of his life, when he was just so blasted weak, everything regarding getting on and off the toilet, out of bed, in and out of bed, on and off, up and off the chair, into a chair, off the chair, just a monumental effort. He was so blasted weak from the medications and all of that, and he did not do any squatting. He didn't lift weights in his life, but he was kind of like a big strong guy anyway, just from life. But I think it would have helped him to squat. I think it would have been a little less miserable for him at the end. So do your squatting, and the way as an aging man, the best method to do the squats are the starting strength style squats, as explained by Mark Rippetoe. So go to his website, startingstrength.com, and start learning about proper exercises, proper exercise selection, proper. He's got it all kind of laid out on the website. Plus, there's a book, and they talk about the proper. Especially for squatting, you want to do in the proper style of squat. And also another great book written in the same line is by Dr. Jonathan Sullivan, Barbell Prescription. That's another good one. It kind of gets in behind the why weights and squats and other big movements are so good for an aging person. But getting back to the squatting tips. So the first tip I would say is, we'll do them, and two, do them the starting strength style of movement, which is a low bar. Now, it's not extreme low bar. He calls it low bar, but it's not extreme low bar like some power lifters do. It's lower than a high bar, but not as low as a low bar. Maybe that's a better way. But it places the bar in a better, more stable position on your back, and it gets it down off your neck. When you do a high bar squat, it's right up there on your neck, and it's not. If you're using significant weight, you don't want all that weight up by your neck. You want it down on your back. And then there's a way that you hold the bar, and you're trying to get kind of a narrow grip on the bar, not with your hands way out wide on the plates, but in. And that, by doing that bunches up your back muscles and gives the bar a better resting spot. The problem with this is, for an aging man like me, is my shoulders aren't that flexible, and I've had tons of shoulder problems over the years, and getting into that proper setup is very, very, very difficult. And I'll talk about the workaround on that in a minute. If you've got like a normal job, your shoulders aren't going to be that flexible, and it's going to be tough to get into the proper position. But we'll get to that in a minute. The other thing is the reason another reason that is good to keep your hands in closer is as that weight gets up, the rack, it's easier to not get your hands or your wrists pinched in the darn rack if they're a little bit in. I worry about this because let's say on your work sets, when you're trying to put that bar back and you're huffing and puffing like a freight train, and your mind, you're about ready to pass out, you don't want to get your darn hand pinched under that darn bar. So that's why it's nicer in too. It's safer for your hands. And then the other, when you're looking, you don't look up when you're doing the movement. You're looking down, and he talks about you use your hips. You're trying to use your hips as the dominant driver, not your knees. Now, of course, your knees and your thighs and your quads are going to get a heck of a workout doing it too, but you're thinking hip and trying to use hip as the main driver. And that, of course, with that hip movement, that's what gives you the power, that's what gives you the stamina, the strength, that's what gives you the longevity in your whole body for getting up and down and not being a burden on somebody else trying to pull you off the toilet. Okay? So, get the book and learn the movements, but and then your stance is wide, right? Like, I'm kind of a wide person, so my stance is wide, and you have to use a wide stance because you're going to be dipping down below parallel. You're going to be squatting down below parallel. It's low. You're going to go low. When you have your stance narrow, you cannot go that deep, and that's the problem. That's where you get the knee problems. That's where you get the back problems. Is you use a too narrow of stance. You've got to use a wide stance with your knees going and your toes pointing out and your knees traveling out over your feet. So it's wide. It's very wide compared to what you might see in a bodybuilding magazine. Now the bodybuilders, they're young men, and a lot of them are flexible, and a lot of them are shorter, and a lot of them have kind of naturally narrow hips. But if your hips are a little bit wider and you're a little bit taller and a little bit older, you're not going to be able to use a narrow stance. You will not work. You won't be able to get deep into it, and that's the deep squat is key. Not down your butt down to the ground. No, that's too far. He talks about it in the website, in the book, how far to go. But trust me, once you start doing this, you'll kind of get it. You'll get in the groove, and it'll become more and more natural how deep to go. But those are, the setup. The setup is key, and then the rep range is key too. You don't ever need to do more than 5 reps. I know when I was a younger man, I would do, like, in my warm-ups, I would do 12, 15, 12, 10, 8, 8, 6, 6, I would do all these crazy high reps. So by the time I got to my work set, I'm kind of tired, right? Well, that's not what you want. You want to save your energy for the work set. You use the warm-up sets to get your body and mind accustomed. So you do the same movement, and but you don't need to go high repetition warm-ups. That's just going to wind you. And then you're going to need longer between your warm-ups, and the workout will take longer, or you'll take less, and then you won't be able to work out at a higher weight. So 5, maximum 5, and your work set do a maximum of 5, right? That's like the perfect amount. The 5 is good. It builds the strength. It doesn't tear you apart like trying to do limit 1s. It doesn't tear you apart like trying to do 10 or 12, because that's that rep range just doesn't work. You're going to get hurt doing that rep range. And I found that as a younger man, it's too many repetitions for most people. 5, as you gain years, as you go up in weight, you might need to go 3. He talks about all of that kind of thing, and I've talked about this too, this 3 to 5 type of thing. I did 5 today, 5 with 275. I'm kind of building my strength back up after that COVID layoff and kind of a weird hip problem that I had this fall. It limited my, in my case, I have squatted the 5 reps, in the low 300s. So I'm trying to work my way back up into the low 300s, and I'd like to go into the mid 300s. We'll see. But anyway, the 5, when I'm doing them, what you'll find, if you got these shoulder problems and you're not that flexible, you'll find as your first set, and I do the first set I do 5 with my body, another set of 5 with my body, a set of 5 with just the bar, a set of 5 with 95, a set of 5 with 135, a set of 5 with 185, a set of 5 with 225, and then finally my work set with 275. But those first sets, man, I can't go full depth. I feel terrible when I'm doing them. But as you do the warm-ups, you're going to start to feel better, and you'll be able to get your positioning on your shoulders. So your warm-up set by warm-up set, you're trying to go deeper and get your hands and the position proper, so that by the time you do your last warm-up set, you're feeling pretty good. You can get your hands just right. You can get the bar just right on your back. You can do a great set, and that last warm-up should feel like not easy, but not hard. Okay? Not easy, but not hard. And then between that last warm-up and the work set, that's when you take a nice long break to make sure you're breathing slow, that your breathing is down. And that's the time I normally will go to the bathroom. That's the time I usually will fill up my water jug. That's the time I'll be sitting on the bench, kind of looking in my workout log, because you want a nice long rest before the work set. And that's kind of the key. If you're using those warm-ups, you're going to be a little sweaty, and you're going to feel warm, and that long break, that really won't help. And the break is relative, not like an hour or something, but you might think in terms of 5 to 10 minutes between the last warm-up and your work set. And then if you're doing multiple work sets, you're going to use that 5 to 10. Ripatow talks about this more, but you got to have a long break between work sets at high reps, at high weights. So that, yeah. So when I start, yeah, I can't go full depth. I feel terrible. I can't get my hands in the right place. My shoulders are, but you're using the warm-up C to warm up your shoulders in addition to your hips and your knees and your back and everything else. You need the warm-ups to get everything, so that by the time you do the work set, you're in the groove. You can get that perfect setup. You're going to be tight, strong, and ready to do it. And you're not going to be puffing and huffing because you've taken a nice long break. You've gotten some water. You've got your any sweat on that wiped off. You got your belt nice and snug. And then you do your set. And then, like, after you do that set, and then the other thing, I like to do one where I'm facing the mirror so I can use the mirror to help me get my hand, so I don't hurt my hands. Okay, when I'm putting the bar back. But after you do that limit, that work set, what you should do, what I like to do, is get the belt off, and then I sit down right away, because normally, if you're doing a limit, if you're doing a heavy duty work set, you're going to be huffing and puffing, just like a racehorse, a freight train. You're going to be huffing and puffing. So you don't want to just start taking your plates apart. You don't want to be starting to move on to the next exercise. Take some time, sit there, let your breathing come down, note the weight and the reps in your log book. You might take a note, about if something went wrong, if you didn't get the right number of reps, you might maybe have a reason why. If you didn't feel well, make a note of it. If it felt great, make a note of it, or a tip for the next time. And just sit there and kind of revel in that, because you're doing something that not many men do as they age. Not many men are going to put their body weight, or approaching their body weight, or body weight, or more than their body weight on their back, and squat down below parallel for reps. Not many. So congratulate yourself for doing that. Then, take some water, strip the plates, clean up your area, and move on. Now, what I like to do, kind of a big tip to make this squat workout not so unbearably tough, because it is hard. It's hard on your mind thinking about doing it. It's hard grinding these sets out, even the heavy warm-up sets. And that last set, the work set, ooh, that's hard. So what I do, that's my second exercise of a brief. I do a shoulder press. The shoulder press kind of helps me get warmed up for the squat too, overall body. And then I do the squat, and that's it. And then I leave. And that's a good tip for you, is to leave afterwards. That's the reward. The other reward you could do is to do some exercises that you consider the most fun. Maybe that's the time you do your curls. Maybe that's the time you do your abs. Maybe that's the time you do your forearm work. Whatever you consider fun and that's productive, that might be the reward. I like to also know that I'm going to have a great meal when I get home after a workout like this, and that I'm probably going to be spent for a time. And yeah, that's kind of the main tips. But yeah, your main thing is, you're not gonna, when you start your squat workout, you're not gonna feel that great. It's not gonna make you feel that good. But then as you go through the warm-up, you're gonna be able to get your hands in that setup just right. You're gonna be able to get to the depth. The bar will force you down, so don't worry about that. And make sure you're taking the safety precautions that a squat requires. I squat in what they call a half power rack, where they have heavy duty arms sticking out. So as I dip down, if I lose it, I can set the bar on the pins, and it won't crush me right to the ground, right? And again, I'm careful with my hand positioning when I'm putting the bar back, and I'm focusing on staying tight, and wearing the belt nice and snug, and getting doing that Valsalva maneuver with my breath. And what else about the safety? How I wear weightlifting shoes that are secure. I wear the loose-fitting clothing. Oh, another good tip is I always collar the squat, because you don't want that. If you tip just a little bit in the squat, it could be a disaster. I've had this. It caused one of my worst injuries, was this slipping of the squat because I didn't collar your squats. Collar them. I start collaring on the first warm-up where I've caught weight on the bar, and it just becomes a habit. And you make sure you do it, and you make sure you got good collars. Yeah, it's critical to do it safely. The other thing is, I try to do my squats with a bar with that knurl in the middle, because that knurl, that kind of grabs your t-shirt, and it becomes a little bit more secure. And the type of shirt you should wear, like a cotton t-shirt, so that if you use like that slippery workout shirts, yeah, the bar is going to want to slip on that. You want to use a cotton t-shirt for squatting, and you don't want to use like a tank top. You want a full, so the t-shirt is right up to your neck, and it takes, it doesn't dig into your skin. It's getting dark here. Give that idea some thought. All for now.